I remember being a kid and growing up in this small ass town of like 3,000 people in Georgia. And when you grow up with very little, you start making promises to yourself. Nobody says them out loud, but they're there. It's like, one day I'll make money. One day I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. And the big one for me was like, one day people will know who I am. And for a long time, I thought that was ambition. I carried that same energy into banking, entrepreneurship, into building businesses. And a big one for me was being in rooms that I never imagined I'd be in coming from a small town. And from the outside, it seemed like I was driven. But when I look back, a lot of it wasn't drive. It was me trying to prove myself, prove I belonged, proving where I came from wouldn't define who I was. It was also me trying to prove I could become someone else. And here's what nobody will ever tell you. The thing that helps you build your life can eventually be the thing that traps it. So today, I want to talk to you about the prison of proving yourself. Because a lot of successful people aren't really carrying a work problem. They're carrying a pressure problem, just like I described for myself, and they don't even realize it's there. So if you're a founder, an entrepreneur, or creator, or maybe just someone carrying responsibility, there's a good chance you felt this. So for example, you hit a goal, then you just move the target. Or you've accomplished something meaningful and somehow it still feels like it's not enough. And then you start telling yourself, man, I just need one more level. Or I just need to hit one more milestone. I need a bigger house, or I need to get this brand new car. Or you just might need a little bit more validation from Instagram. I don't know. So what's dangerous about all of that, from the outside, the behavior gets rewarded. People call it ambition. People call it hunger, or some people might even call it discipline, whatever the case is. But sometimes it's just pressure, wearing a nice suit. And if nobody catches it, you can spend years chasing a finish line that just keeps moving. But on a quick side note, if you're already seeing yourself in this conversation, that's probably not an accident. And if your neighbor has already subscribed and you're still sitting there thinking about hitting that button, we should probably talk about that too. All right, now back to it. Most people think they're driven by like a particular vision. Sometimes they are. But a surprising number of people are driven by something else. It could be an old argument. It could be that ex that you're trying to, prove them wrong. It could be a feeling of not wanting to be rejected, or it could be something that you just fully never left behind. So then you start working, you start building, you start scaling. You start trying to achieve, and then the whole time you think you're chasing freedom, but you're actually chasing a resolution. You're trying to finally prove something to a parent, to an ex, to a teacher. That was a big one for me. My 7th grade teacher, I'll never forget that shit. Or to a room of random people on the internet. And here's the crazy part. The people that you trying to impress, they often forgot about you in the first place. My 7th grade teacher can give a fuck where I'm at. But for me, that proving never stopped. She told me at that age that I was gonna be a mechanic, and that stuck with me, if you can't tell. But as you can see, the proving never stopped, because it stopped being about that other person, and then it started being about my identity. Some people say they're chasing freedom, but you actually probably chasing an argument that you had with somebody, can't say no names, 10 years ago. And that's why proving is so dangerous. Because at first, it creates energy. I mean a lot of energy. You wake up early, you stay up later than you should, you try to push harder. And I think for me, I became obsessed. Kobe mentioned this a lot of times too, you just gotta become obsessed with whatever it is. And this is what happens with your identity when you're trying to prove something all the time. So then at some point, you become relentless. And then the world rewards you for it. Your income grows, opportunities start to show up, and then doors start opening. So naturally, you never question what's driving it, right? Why would you? The machine is producing results. I've seen founders, athletes, any high performer say the same exact language. I just need to get here. I just need to hit this particular number. Or basically, I just need to prove that I can do it. And then you get there, and then what happens? Nothing at all changes. Because you know what? Proving has no finish line. So when you heard that, I'm sure part of you might have felt uncomfortable. Yes or no? Because if proving has no finish line, then maybe the pressure you're carrying, it wasn't even from a goal. Maybe it was coming from the identity that you attached to it. And this is where the prison shows up. Because eventually your life improves, but the pressure, it doesn't. In some cases, it gets worse. So you hit the goal, then you immediately create a new emergency, or you just move the target further out. So for me, I'm a victim of achieving something meaningful. So if you're like me, you don't even enjoy it. You done already moved on to creating something else. And it's not because you don't want it. It's because stopping feels uncomfortable. Because if proving has become your identity, peace feels suspicious. Stillness feels like being lazy. And rest, I swear, it feels almost irresponsible. So some people hit their goals and then you immediately create a new crisis. So everything is finally working, and then somehow you find a way to be stressed about it. This was the realization that I had that changed the way that I look at success. Achievement isn't the problem. Building isn't the problem. And the word winning, that's not the problem. Everybody loves the word winning. That's not the problem. The problem is needing those things to confirm your worth. Because the person who constantly needs to prove something can never relax. You can never fully enjoy the win. And so you might feel like I do, you can never fully be free because freedom requires something proving can't give you. And that's enough. And if enough never arrives, the chase never fucking ends. So some entrepreneurs say they want peace, but then you go and you build a business that sends you text messages at 2 a.m. And it's not because it's required, but because calm feels weird. So the cost of proving usually isn't obvious, but it rarely looks like failure. It looks more like exhaustion, burnout, or the biggest thief is comparison. And then you just have this constant pressure. So then you have a life that kind of looks like success, but it feels heavy because proving creates this sort of invisible debt. Every achievement gives you some kind of temporary relief, but then that pressure comes back asking for another payment. So you feel like you got to do another accomplishment or set another milestone. And then a lot of people in this day and age have to give themselves another reason to even feel worthy. But then as you keep going, and eventually you start to realize you've been carrying a weight that was never yours to begin with. So over the next 48 hours, I want you to sit with these questions I'm about to give you. The first one, and this is the biggest one, what am I still trying to prove? And then number 2, who am I trying to prove it to? So you got to think to yourself, if nobody came and gave me an applaud, would I still have this goal for myself? And if nobody saw it, would I still build it? But this is the biggest one that I really want you to think about. What would my life look like if I already believed that I was enough? Don't answer that quickly. Maybe think about it before you get into bed, listen to some music. That question, it usually exposes things that people generally like to avoid. So sit with those questions because most people think their freedom comes from achieving more. But sometimes freedom comes from carrying less. And that means less pressure, less proving, less dependency on other people's approval. Because the goal isn't to become more impressive, it's to become free. In the moment you stop trying to prove your worth is a moment you'll start creating from it. If this video hits something that you've never been able to explain before, that's what we do here. I'm not about motivation, I'm not about hype. I'm trying to get you guys to understand the hidden identities that are currently shaping your life. So if this video resonated with you, take a look at this video here, Trapped by Your Own Potential, because it dives a little bit deeper into what can be holding you back. Okay, guys, take care. You know what's weird? The older you get, the more successful people you meet, the more I realize a lot of people aren't building freedom.